we as men can't necessarily relate to the fact that in rugby, bigger is better often, and that's quite a
Yeah,
difficult mental battle for a woman, or
yeah.
we relate to the same extent, certainly. So just talk about, well, how you were affected by that and eventually how you overcame it, although that's quite a binary
Yeah,
putting it.
yeah. So it kind of always struggled with like my body image as such throughout my teenage years. I think we were just kind of the generation of like magazines and diets, and it was just everywhere about being smaller is better. And I got very sucked into that. And that, to be honest, reflecting on it, probably was one of the reasons why I stopped playing rugby at the time, because it wasn't necessarily cool to play sport. And then yeah, I went off to university. First real time that I've been in control of like my own food, obviously my own washing, everything like that, and just became very extreme with it. Didn't realize what was kind of happening, but experienced an eating disorder, lost a lot of weight, and it became very obsessive and very isolating as well. And I just was a complete shadow of the person I once was. So reached out for help, worked with kind of a psychologist, and got better from there. And then when I started playing rugby again, I realized that if I kind of didn't gain weight, didn't gain muscle, then I wasn't going to get better. So a big motivation was kind of I needed to eat well, eat the right food, eat enough protein, carbohydrates, everything, so that I could play well in rugby. And obviously I'm like 10 kilos heavier now, but it's like muscle, and I need to be this size to perform at the level that I do. But it's definitely been a process, and I just felt like when I was started playing at this level and had a bit more of a social media following and things, that it was important to share that, to know for other girls that I'd been through something like that, but I'd come out the other side. And actually that fueling yourself and lifting weights and building muscle and playing sport and being healthy was actually cool. Like it wasn't something that I necessarily deemed cool when I was younger, but just like younger girls being able to see that it is possible to come out the other side if they're feeling that way, and having women to look up to.
Do,
So
do you think,
yeah,
Ellie, just on this subject, that having gone through that, when it comes to your time, when your rugby's over,
yeah,
a hell of a lot of well, a lot of the certainly a lot of the male players, I don't really know what it's like in the women's environment, but they struggle with that. They struggle with the whole loss of the game. They struggle with the change in body shape when you're not having 9 meals a day and all the stuff that goes around professional rugby playing. Do you think that your experience and the fact that you've gone through something pretty tough and come out the other side is like a suit of armor against anything that might happen to you after rugby?
yeah, I think you're right in terms of, because I've already been through that, I already know that when I stop full-time training, my body inevitably will change. I won't be training every day, lifting weights every day. Like I won't have that same time, and it won't be my job. So I already know in my brain that my body will change, and I've already accepted that. Whereas perhaps for some people where it's been their entire life, like you said, they find that change very difficult. And it's like a loss of identity, because you always get known as the rugby player or the girl really into the gym or whatever, and that's what people know you for. So for that to be taken away from you, people find it really difficult. But I know as well that I'll still enjoy fitness and going to the gym and things afterwards. So I will have a different goal and a different method of training that I'll look forward to as well, because I won't have to stick to a particular program and things. So it'll be a different motivation afterwards. But I've definitely, yeah, I'm already mentally prepared for that.
Yeah, you're still going to be connected. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. I'll still be connected to the game in some way, and I'll still really enjoy training and keeping fit. So I definitely won't just turn into a couch potato.
One sort of spearhead in certainly in the rugby sevens circuit has been Ilona Maher in terms of body
Yes.
positivity. And for those that don't know, Ilona Maher is a US player. She's a powerhouse type of player, i.e., she's the type of player you wouldn't want running right at you.
She has at me many times.
I'm sure you've tackled her successfully and unsuccessfully at various points. She did an interview with Ricky Swinnell, and she was talking about how because she's 90 kilos, so you
Yeah.
know she tips the scales, a little bit heavier than your average female rugby player as well.
Yeah.
But she looks fantastic. She's an absolute powerhouse. Anyway, she basically said that her body image has been helped so much by the fact that she considers her body as her job.
Yeah.
And I've got lots of friends who have had body image difficulties, and they've been they found it helpful to think, okay, well, I've got to fuel my body to get stronger, and weights in the gym. Obviously, not all of us can be professional athletes like you guys. But has that mindset helped you as well? Your body is your job. You've got to fuel it. You've got to give it the necessary nutrients. You've got to, give yourself the best possible chance of doing that job, I suppose.
Yeah, you're right. That is kind of mental side of it that I definitely use in terms of like, my body is my job. So if I don't eat enough, I'm not going to train well. Like, I'm not going to play well. If I don't sleep enough, like, it's going to reflect the next day in training. So you have to look after yourself, and like, you can't afford to want to stick to a really low calorie diet, because you're going to feel absolutely rubbish and you're not going to be able to get through training and playing. So yeah, I mean, Alona's done so well with her social media, and bringing a whole wider audience of people who didn't even know rugby sevens existed with her kind of body image stuff as well. But yeah, I mean, she is 90 kilos, but she can shift around the pitch. She can last 40 minutes, so it's impressive. I don't know how she does it, because I find it harder, and I'm like 30 kilos lighter than her. So but yeah, definitely I do view my body as kind of my job, and so it is very, very important to look after it now.
I think rather than body positivity, her expression was body appreciation.
Yeah.
Which is maybe a little bit more, you don't necessarily need to assign a positive or negative value to your body, but just appreciate what it can do.
Yeah, definitely.
A bit of a positive mindset switch. I don't know whether that resonates with you as well.
Yeah, it definitely does. I actually use that with my own kind of clients that I speak to as well. I'm like, you don't realize actually how much your body does for you in a day. And actually, you do your 9 to 5 job, you do other things, and your body has to deal with all of those stresses. So
Yeah.
look after it and appreciate it. But also with rugby sevens being a contact sport, like, we always say this, we want a little bit of padding. Like, if we were super, super lean athletes, like some of the kind of endurance runners and things that we're seeing around the village, your body just wouldn't tolerate that amount of contact throughout the year. Like, we run people as our jobs.
Yeah.
We do a lot of contact even in sevens. So if you were super lean and very small and had minimal body fat, like, you would get injured and you would feel it. So yes, we perhaps maybe hold a little bit more body fat than some of the other athletes, but again, it's like, it's our job to tackle people and do a lot of contact, so we need to be that way. But yeah,
I don't think any of us see Mo Farah in a game of sevens, to be honest.
No, exactly. He might last the whole game, but I don't think he'll be able to tackle some people.
Has it been then an interesting sort of, not experiment, that's maybe making light of it, but being in the Olympic Village where everyone is about, 3% body fat and etc. Has that been an interesting little self-assessment in terms of where you're at as well? Because I know that being around, well, it's a bubble, right?
Yes.
And you are obviously an elite athlete in incredible shape, but so is everyone else in the Olympic Village. And a lot of them maybe look like how you were trying to look maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Correct me if I'm wrong. So if I can ask, and obviously if you don't feel comfortable answering, just let me know. Has it been interesting being around people who are like that?
It has been interesting for sure, but like, it's also been really cool to have some conversations with other athletes, because, for instance, we were speaking to some of the female boxers downstairs in the Team GB house the other day, and like, they're having to make weight at the moment, and like I said, like, they can't eat certain foods, they're cutting their water intake, they're very small and like need to make weight, and I don't envy that at all. And maybe that's reflected in my journey, where actually I'm so happy now that I found a sport that not only kind of celebrates being stronger and fit and looking after yourself, but like, I don't have to focus on weight. So it's made me reflect that obviously I am in a better place. But I think you just appreciate what they do for their sports. When you look at the other athletes, like, you go into the sauna and obviously some of them have no body fat, trying to make weight, sweating out everything. And I don't envy that at all. So yeah, I guess it has been a reflection, but in a good way.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Well, look, we've got 5 minutes left. Massive thank you for talking to us about that. I know you're very open about it anyway. Just if you're listening and any of what Ellie said has resonated with you, do go check out her Instagram page, as there is a lot of good stuff around how to be able to stay positive and appreciative around your body.